everyone, and welcome to lesson 3 of our beginner yoga series. My name is Claudia from Yoga for Everybody, and I'll be taking you through today's practice. So in today's class we will continue expanding our knowledge of the yoga poses, the foundation yoga poses. So we will do a little recap of some of the postures that we learned in lessons 1 and 2, and then I'll also introduce a few more poses to your practice. As always, if you like the class, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. Do let me know what you think of the class in comments. Maybe connect with me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy today's class. Let's begin. So today's class, we're going to begin in a cross-legged seated posture. So we've not done that yet in our series. So come onto your mats and then just cross one shin over the other. So it doesn't matter which way you go first, we're going to try it both ways. Flex your toes from here, so keep your feet nice and flexed, and then see if you can start relaxing your knees down towards the floor. So you're kind of resting on the outer edges of your feet, your knees are nice and relaxed, and then your spine is nice and long. So what I've got the blanket for is to show you if you're finding it a bit difficult to sit up straight in this pose, if you find that you're leaning back, you're struggling to balance, what would help is putting yourself up onto a blanket or even a block, and that helps to rotate, tilt your hips forwards. Christopher's going mental. And that should hopefully help you sit up a little bit straighter. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with using a prop and sitting on something if you need to. So that's what I had the blanket for. We'll move it out of the way now. So try and sit equally on your sit bones so you can roll the flesh away from your bottom. From here, place your hands on your knees and just relax your shoulders back and down. So make sure you're not rounding your spine. Try and sit with a nice and straight back if you can. Pretend like there's somebody pulling you up with a string from the crown of your head so your neck is nice and long. We're just going to close the eyes for a minute and take a deep breath in through the nose. Feel your breath traveling all the way through your body, and then see if you can have a complete exhale through the nose. And then see if you can change the cross of your legs and see how it feels on the other side. So cross the other shin over and then see if you can relax your knees down. Again, make sure the feet are nice and flexed. Close their eyes. Take another deep breath in. And exhale. And then open your eyes, bring your hands in prayer in front of your chest, and maybe just set an intention for today's practice. Could be anything you want. On an inhale, lift your arms up and stretch. And on an exhale, just lower your hands back down to the floor. One more time, inhale, lift your arms up. Maybe touch your fingertips together. And exhale, release. One more time, inhale, lift up and stretch. And exhale, release. Let's place the hands back onto our knees, and we're going to do a quick spinal warm-up. So on an inhale, you're going to arch the spine and lift your chest forward. So open the collarbones, look forwards. Maybe lean forwards a little bit. On an exhale, we're going to do the opposite action. So you're going to start leaning back, rolling your back, so rounding the shoulders and bringing the chest, chin towards the chest. One more time. On an inhale, arch the spine, so one vertebra at a time. Open your collarbones, open your chest, lift your chest forwards. Look forwards or maybe look up. And exhale, reverse, so round the shoulders, bring your chin towards your chest, really feel your spine rounding. One last time, inhale, arch the spine, look forwards. And exhale, round the back and look down. So it's that cat-cow movement, but from a cross-legged seated position. Let's switch the cross of the legs one more time. Place your right fingertips down onto the mat. On an inhale, lift your left arm up. And on an exhale, we're going to take a side bend to the right. So try and keep your sit bones on the mat. Don't lift off with your left sit bones, and just really stretch through your left fingertips. Gazing down, or if it's comfortable for the neck, maybe gaze up towards the left fingertips. Take a breath in, and on a breath out, release your left fingertips down onto the mat, and we'll go the opposite way. Inhale, lift your right arm up, and on an exhale, take a side bend to the left. And again, try not to lift off with your right sit bones. Keep them on the floor and really stretch through the right fingertips. Maybe gaze up. Deep breath in and exhale, release. On an inhale, lift both hands up and stretch. On an exhale, you're going to place your left fingertips in front of you, right fingertips behind you for a twist. So deep breath in here, and on an exhale, see if you can deepen your twist. If you're comfortable, place your left hand on your right knee and maybe just use your left hand to gently push yourself a little bit further. But if that's not comfortable, you can always have your left fingertips directly in front of you. On your next inhale, come back to center and lift your arms up. And on an exhale, we'll go the opposite way. So right fingertips in front of you, left fingertips behind you, twisting to the left. And again, you can keep them, your right fingertips in front of you, or maybe place your right hand on your left knee, take an inhale, and on an exhale, maybe deepen your twist a little bit further. On an inhale, lift both hands up, come back into neutral, and exhale, release your fingertips down onto the mat. From here, take a breath in and place your hands in front of you, so fingertips down onto the mat in front of you. And on an exhale, start walking your fingertips forwards, just as far as feels comfortable for the lower back and the hips. So you can pause somewhere in the middle, take an inhale, lengthen the spine, and on an exhale, maybe walk your fingertips a little bit further. Just be mindful of the lower back and the hips. It can be quite a deep stretch, so work at your own level. If you can lower your forehead down onto the mat, you're more than welcome to, or down to the floor. If you can't quite reach the floor, you can use your blocks. Stack them up and pop your forehead down onto the blocks. If you haven't got the blocks, you can also stack up your fists if you wanted to lower your forehead, or just keep it lifting. Take another deep breath in, walk your fingertips back. And then cross the opposite shin. So switch the cross of your legs. Fingertips down onto the floor in front of you. Inhale, on an exhale, start walking your fingertips forwards and see how this feels on this side. So breathing in, lengthening the spine. On an exhale, maybe fold forwards a bit deeper. I'm feeling a bit tighter on this side, so I'm going to use the blocks to prop my head. One more inhale, and then exhale, release. Walk your fingertips back towards your body. Let's roll onto our hands and knees from here. So release the cross of your legs and just come into a tabletop position. So if you remember from the previous lessons, spread your fingertips nice and wide. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. If you feel like your shoulders are turning in, you can turn your fingertips out a little bit to help with the external rotation of the shoulders. Engage the core muscles so you're not sagging down. Your back is nice and long, so neutral spine, you're lengthening your tailbone towards the back of the room. So let's do a couple of cycles of cat-cow to continue warming up the spine. So same principle as we did with a cross-legged posture, only from a tabletop. Inhale, arch the spine, look forwards. And exhale, round the shoulder blades, round the spine, chin to chest, look down. You can maybe release the toes here. Inhale, arch the spine, look forwards. Exhale, round the back and look down. One more time, inhale, arch the spine, look forwards. Lift your chest forwards and exhale, round the back and look down. Inhale, come into a neutral spine. Exhale, tuck your toes. Take a breath in and see if you can lift your knees off the mat just an inch or two and hold, building some strength here. Hold for one more breath if you can. And then exhale, release. Sit back onto your heels in a child's pose for a moment. Inhale, come back into a tabletop position. Exhale, tuck the toes and let's lift our hips up into our first downward facing dog. So just make sure your feet hip width apart with your feet. Start lifting your hips up, your tailbone up towards the sky, stretching into your back through your hands. Your knees can be nice and bent to start with. Try not to lock your elbows as well, so make sure there's a little micro bend in the elbows so you're not locking the elbows. That could cause some damage to your joints there. So really press into the floor with your hands and focus on lifting your bum up. And then maybe lower one heel down onto the mat and then the other. See how that feels in your hamstrings today. My hamstrings feel different on each day, so some days I'm more flexible than others, just how it is. And then maybe drop both heels down onto the floor if you're feeling quite open. If not, continue having your knees bend. Take another breath in. And then on an exhale, start rolling forwards until your shoulders are over your wrists. Drop your knees down onto the mat. Chest down, chin down. Lower all the way down onto the floor, keeping the elbows in. Release your toes, straighten the legs. And then keeping your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, press into your hands and lift your chest up into a cobra. Keep the elbows pressing into your ribs. Don't straighten the arms just yet. We're not doing a full cobra, so just a baby cobra here. Press down with the tops of your feet. One more breath. Exhale, release. And then see if you can come back into the tabletop position. So lift up onto your knees. Back into tabletop. Exhale, tuck your toes under, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. On an exhale, drop your knees down onto the mat. Inhale, stretch your right leg back and lift. Doesn't have to be very high, quick balance. Exhale, bring your right knee towards your chest, maybe around the spine. If you can, really squeeze your knee in and then see if you can step it through in between your hands. So if that didn't quite work, you can always use your hand to guide your foot in between your hands. Bring your left knee back a little bit, roll onto the area just above your left kneecap. Maybe release your left toes for a deeper stretch. And when you're ready, lift your arms up into a low lunge. Deep breath in. On an exhale, lower your fingertips back down onto the mat. Place your left hand flat onto the floor. Inhale, lift your right arm up for a twist. So left knee is over your left ankle. Then tuck your toes on your left foot if you went there already, and see if you can lift your left knee off the mat. You can gaze down onto the floor or maybe gaze up towards your right fingertips. And you're really not putting too much pressure into your left hand, so try and bring some weight into your feet, into your legs. One more inhale. Exhale, release your right hand back down onto the mat. Drop your left knee down onto the floor. Step your right leg back. Take an inhale. On an exhale, chest, chin down onto the floor. Straighten the legs, release the toes. Inhale, lift up into a cobra. So make sure your shoulders are nice and relaxed. Exhale, release. Inhale, press back up into a tabletop position. Tuck your toes under, downward facing dog. Take another deep breath in. On an exhale, drop your knees back down onto the mat. Inhale, stretch your left leg back and see if you can lift. On an exhale, bend your left knee round the spine, bring your knee towards your chest, and then see if you can step it through in between the hands. Again, do whatever you need to help your foot in between the hands. Bring your right knee back a little bit just so you can start feeling the stretch in the fronts of your hip, the psoas. Maybe release the right toes. Left knee over your left ankle. When you're ready, inhale, lift your arms up. If you're struggling with balance here, having your toes tucked usually helps. Maybe gaze up towards your fingertips. On an exhale, lower your hands back down onto the mat. Right hand down onto the floor. Inhale, lift your left arm up for a twist. So again, keep gazing down if you're finding balance a bit challenging today, or maybe see if you can look up towards your left fingertips, although if it's not comfortable for the neck, just keep gazing down. Take an inhale, see if you can lift your right knee off the mat, so straighten the right leg, press back through your right heel, and again, try not to put too much pressure into your right hand, so really you should be able to lift it off the floor, so all the weight is in your legs, it's just there for support. One more inhale, and then exhale. Bring your left hand down onto the mat, drop your right knee down, step your left knee, your left leg back into a tabletop. Keeping the elbows in, chest, chin down onto the mat. Release the legs. Press the tops of your feet down into the floor. Hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Cobra. Exhale, release. Come back into a tabletop position. Inhale, exhale, tuck your toes under, downward facing dog. Deep breathing in down dog. And then on your next inhale, you're going to look between your hands and we're going to step the feet to the front of the mat. So you can take a few little steps forwards if you need to, or if you can take a couple of big steps and bring your feet forwards to the front of the mat, that's another option. Once you're at the front, keep your feet about hip width apart. Bend the knees and just lower your chest over your thighs. We're just going to hang in this forward fold for a breath or two. So your fingertips are down on the mat. Or maybe you can grab hold of your elbows. So sway side to side, just releasing any tension you might have in the back. Your neck and your head are nice and relaxed. And then release your hands back onto the floor. Take a breath in, bend the knees generously. And on an exhale, start rolling all the way up to standing. So one vertebra at a time. Take your time here. Your neck and your head are the last ones to come up. And then stand at the front of your mat with your feet about hip width apart. Coming into a pose called Tadasana or mountain pose. So really a foundation of all standing postures in yoga is our mountain pose. So in some classes you do it with your feet together. As a beginner, I would recommend starting with your feet hip width apart. That's also a bit easier on the lower back, and then see how you get on as you progress with your practice. So spread your weight equally between your feet. You can spread your toes nice and wide. So this is your foundation. You're pressing into each four corners of your feet. And then have your legs straight but knees relaxed. Working our way up, your core muscles are engaged, so your belly button's pulling towards your spine. And then you're lengthening your tailbone down towards the floor, so you're not arching your bum out, you're not arching your spine, you're not sticking your bottom out. You're trying to return to the natural curve of your spine, so lengthening your tailbone down towards the floor. Arms by your sides, palms facing forward, so opening the shoulders here. And you can just gaze directly ahead of you. From here we're going to do a few standing postures before we finish off lying down on the floor. So if you've got a couple of blocks or books or something you can use as props, please go ahead and grab them. If not, don't worry about it. I will show you how to do the poses without any props as well. Come to the front of your mat, place your hands to your hips, and then we're going to take a big step back with the left leg. So point your toes on both feet towards the long edge of the mat. Your stance is nice and wide, and as we move through the next few poses, you may need to adjust it. I will show you as and when. From here, point your right toes towards the short edge of the mat, towards the front. And your left toes are kind of pointing towards the long side, or maybe just slightly towards, so slightly in. And then start bending your right knee until your right knee is over your right ankle. So we're coming into a warrior two pose. So just make sure you're not bending so far that your knee is going over your toes. It is in line with your second and third toe, so it's not falling in, especially when we add the arms in a minute. Press into your feet. Another common mistake is to start rolling onto the inner edge of your left foot, so try and press back into the outer edge of that foot. So really spreading the pressure equally between your feet. And then inhale, lift your arms out to the sides until they're parallel with the floor. So right fingertips forwards, left fingertips back. If you've got a mirror, maybe just gaze at yourself and make sure you're not kind of leaning too far forwards or too far back. You're nice and straight with your body. Gaze towards your right fingertips. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. And here we are in your warrior two. Take another breath in. And then on an exhale, we're going to come into a side angle pose. So you're going to drop your right elbow to your right knee, left arm up, and then over your left ear. So this is your first variation of the pose. We're stretching through the left fingertips, stretching the left side of the body. Again, just gaze down, make sure your right knee is where it needs to be. It's not falling in. And if you've got a prop, a block or something that you can use, pop it on the outside of your right foot. And then maybe see if you can start bringing your right hand onto the block. If that means your body starts to collapse forward and you're losing this nice straight line, just come back onto your right elbow. I promise the benefits of the pose are all the same wherever you are. Of course, if you're feeling super flexible,
you can drop your fingertips down onto the floor, but again, just be mindful of losing that nice straight line. Take another breath in and then exhale, see if you can come back into warrior two. I'm really feeling this in my legs. And then bring your hands back onto your hips, straighten the right leg. We're going to switch sides. So turn your right toes in, left toes out. So left toes are now pointing towards the back of the mat. Maybe just grab the block with you if you're using one. Hands to your hips to start with, and then start bending the left knee until the knee is over your left ankle. And again, feel free to adjust the stance if you think you can sit a little bit deeper, but not so deep that your knee is going over your left toes. Again, make sure it's not falling in. And then inhale, lift your arms out to the sides, left fingertips towards the back of the room now, right fingertips towards the front of your mat. So we've reversed the direction, gazing towards the left hand. Again, just make sure you're nice and straight with your body. You're not leaning forwards or back. Shoulders are relaxed. Inhale. And then exhale, drop your left elbow down onto your left knee, right arm up and over your right ear, side angle. Deep breathing. If you want to, you can try and gaze towards the right fingertips if that's comfortable for the neck and you've got the balance. If not, don't worry about it, just keep gazing down. And if you want to, you can bring your left hand down onto the block or the mat if you're feeling flexible, but make sure you're not losing this nice straight line in your body. Take another deep breath in and then see if you can come back into warrior two. Place your hands to your hips, straighten the left leg, left toes in, right toes out. Last standing posture for today is going to be a triangle pose. So you may need to shorten the stance here, see how you feel when you come into the posture. I'm going to put my block on the outside of my right foot because I might use it. So kind of same stance with your legs, maybe just a little bit shorter. Left toes are pointing slightly in. This time we're keeping the legs nice and straight. And what we're going to try and do, or what we try and do in triangle pose, is lengthen both sides of the body. So we're going to fold forwards to the right. Place your hands onto your ribs to start with. Take an inhale and on an exhale, start folding to the right, stretching both sides of the body. So instead of rounding down like this, we're trying to lengthen through both sides of your body. And then maybe drop your right hand down somewhere on your right leg, left arm up towards the sky. Okay. If you wanted to come into triangle pose with your arms out to the sides, you can do the same. Take an inhale. On an exhale, stretch your right arm forwards, lengthen through both sides of the body, and then drop your right hand down onto your right leg, left arm up towards the sky. And again, just take a few breaths here, see how that feels in your body. So even though your legs are straight, just be mindful of the knees as well. Do not overflex the knees, do not lock the knees, keep them nice and soft. If you think you can bend a little bit deeper, you can put your hand on the block or maybe grab hold of your foot. Gaze down or gaze up towards your left fingertips. Take another breath in and then exhale, come back up into triangle pose. Place your hands to your hips. We'll switch sides. So right toes in, left toes out. Maybe grab a block if you've got one. Inhale, lift your arms out to the sides. So again, just see how you feel on this side. If you need to bring your right foot in a little bit, you can do. If you need to widen the stance, there's nothing wrong with that. On an exhale, start bringing your left fingertips forwards, stretching and lengthening through both sides of your body. And then exhale, drop your left hand down your left leg, right arm up towards the sky. Now your right hand can literally be on your thigh here and you're just doing this, depending on your flexibility. Try to avoid putting it on your knee. Maybe it's on your shin, maybe on the block. If you want to, you can look up or maybe keep looking down towards the floor. One more breath in, and then see if you can come all the way up. Hands back onto your hips, spin your left toes towards the long edge of the mat, and then just toe heel your feet together until your feet are about hip width apart. Maybe give your legs a bit of a shake. If you're not used to these poses, it could be quite strenuous on the legs, so just be mindful. You can always come out of the pose and shake the legs out. Let's come to the front of the mat. Bring your feet about hip width apart. Nice straight spine, Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, lift your arms up and just stretch through the fingertips. On an exhale, try and keep your back nice and long and start folding forwards over the legs. You can bend the knees as much as you need to, but try and keep the spine nice and straight. Fingertips to your shins, or maybe to the floor, or maybe if you've got the blocks, you can lower your hands down onto the blocks as well. On an inhale, place your hands on your shins, lift your chest off your thighs, see if you can start working your legs in the direction of straight, lengthen your spine and look forward. So this is called a flat back. So neck is nice and long, spine is nice and long. Legs can be bent, but we're trying to work them in the direction of straight. And then on an exhale, fold forwards, bend your knees as much as you need to place your hands flat on the mat. Take a step back into a plank. Drop your knees down. And then sit back onto your heels in a child's pose. So it can be extended child's pose if you want to stretch your arms forwards, or you can bring your arms by your sides, palms facing up. Take another deep breath in. And then exhale, come up. And we're going to come down onto our mat in a lying down position. Just bring your knees towards your chest, nice and loose to start with. Hands onto your knees, just rock along the spine. And then maybe start bringing them in a little bit closer to your body. And then open your arms out to the sides, palms facing up. Take an inhale. On an exhale, just start bringing your knees down to the right as far as feels comfortable for you without lifting your left shoulder blade off the mat. So if your knees don't touch the floor, it doesn't really matter. Just do whatever feels good for the spine. Take a breath in. And then exhale, come back to center. Inhale, and on an exhale, drop your knees to the opposite side, so to your left. Again, just as far as feels good without lifting your right shoulder off the mat. And you can gaze up or maybe look towards your right fingertips. Take a breath in. On an exhale, bring your knees back towards your chest. Hug them in one more time. And then release your feet down onto the mat. Straighten the legs. We're coming into our final relaxation pose, Shavasana. So let your feet relax and fall out. Arms up by your sides, palms facing up. Everything's nice and relaxed. You can close your eyes and see if you can return to the natural rhythm of your breath. So just work your way up from your toes to the crown of your head. Make sure you're not tensing any part of your body. If you find that you're clenching or tensing any part of the body, take a deep breath in, and on an exhale, release the tension. Notice how you're feeling in your body after today's practice. Hopefully you're feeling more stretched out and relaxed. Feel your body sinking into the floor.
For a few more minutes, please stay down on the mat in the Shavasana pose. And when you're ready to come out of it, just bend your knees and roll onto your side and come back into a seated position, either with your legs crossed or on your knees. And you can bring your hands in front of your chest in prayer position. And I just want to say thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed the class. Do let me know your feedback and comments, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.